aspirations that we all have. And with that, we also, want to ensure that we don't become a burden on anyone. That's also something that one commonly hears, that, as I get older, I don't want to become a burden on anyone. I want to be doing what I'm doing right now till the very last moment of my life. I want to be independent. I want to be, all of those things. Before I go any further, is there an audio issue or is the audio message for others? Are you all able to hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. So then I'll go on. But to live up to this aspiration of being able to do everything for ourselves till the very last moment, to be a useful resource in our homes and in our communities till the very last moment, what we really need to do is live our current lives well. And a lot of times we don't quite understand that what we do in this moment is going to decide how we are going to be in the future, 5 years down the line, 15 years down the line. And every activity that I will either do today or not do today will decide. What we really need to do is live our current lives well. And a lot of times we don't quite understand that what we do in this moment is going to decide how we are going to be in the future, 5 years down the line, 15 years down the line. And every activity that I will either do today or not do today will decide whether or not I'll be able to satisfactorily complete that activity 15 years later. So one of the things that we all must start doing is that a lot of times when we have the elderly around us, we keep saying to them, "Aap mat kijiye, main karti hu. Aap baithe rahiye, main karti hu." And the more our elderly sit, the bigger the problems they tend to have. So one of the things that we all must do is encourage them to move around more within our households. I think even if we manage to do that much, it will be a lot. Uh, and fitness is really built by small activities that you do on a day-to-day basis. That is what builds you a big bank or a chunk at the end of the day. And you don't really need to do anything massive on a daily basis to reap big benefits. So it's really about small daily activities. So I would really recommend taking up small daily activities for yourself, something as small as ensuring that you continue making your own chai and coffee if you're capable of doing that. Go and wash your own cup of tea or coffee, or wash your own plate, put it back in its place, or maybe wash your own clothes. I know quite a few people who have been through extremely healthy aging who had almost a result. So I think what I was saying is that it's very important for all of us to support the elderly to be more active and to allow them to do more, more daily tasks by themselves, because it allows them to be much more functional as they get older. And functionality also ensures that they stay more confident and more sure about what they're doing. I'll just quickly give you 2 points that you all must do, and then I think we will go to the question answer section, since we've already lost quite a bit of time. So number one that the elderly must do is activity, and I think as a home and society, we must encourage them to stay more active. With that, I think politically also, we must ask our local politicians, the local MLA and stuff, to give our elderly safe access to walking spaces. I think what happens in every big city and town is that our footpaths are not well maintained. They don't have a proper slope. We surely don't have, cycling areas. And with that, even for the ones who are aging healthily, it becomes difficult for them to go out for a walk, to cross the road safely, just because as motorists and as a society, we are not really doing better with road safety. So I think every time that one goes out to vote, politically, we must ask for safer avenues for our elderly to stay fit and active, to be able to walk to their community spaces, to their gardens, to their libraries, and to their friends' homes, to their temples and to churches and mosques without being hit by a biker or a motorist. And we all also must ensure that we are driving much more sensibly so that we are not putting anyone else's life at risk. So I think number one that we must do is promote more activity. The second thing that we must understand is that exercise is the most underexploited medicine as far as healthy aging is concerned. Exercise is relatively inexpensive. It doesn't cost too much money. It may cost some money, but it is not going to cost you a lot of money. Depending on who you engage with, it will cost you maybe somewhere between 500 rupees to 5,000 rupees, including all of the exercise gear and the shoes and the gym membership and trainer fees and stuff, which I would really think is something that each one of us needs to look at as an investment. Because if we fail to exercise, then the diseases that come are extremely costly, not just monetarily, but also emotionally and in terms of time. So in terms of actual cost, exercise will cost you very, very little. In terms of time cost, the only amount of investment or time investment that is required of an adult towards exercise is half an hour every single day. This half an hour every day will save you time from hospitalization visits. It saves you time from bed rest. It saves you time from just being sick or having to walk to a chemist and stuff. So the half an hour of time investment is extremely critical. Now, in half an hour, what we often tend to do is do only one type of exercise. So here's a little bit of science for you, that fitness is made of 4 important components: strength, stamina, stability, and stretching. When we go from little babies to mobile children, one of the first things that we learn to do is hold our neck. So we first learn to have the strength in our body to get stable, and then we start moving. As we get older, what happens is that our strength and our stability begins to diminish. And therefore, we must take active steps to rebuild that strength. You must remember that this isn't something which is a non-reversible loss of strength. Loss of strength can be reversed. Loss of stability, flexibility can be reversed with as little as half an hour of exercise every single day. But you need to do that exercise. You cannot just intellectually know about exercise and the importance of staying fit. You must actually perform that exercise. So mostly when we exercise, we only talk about stamina because we are only walking. You must have heard this, that walking is the best form of exercise. But the most important exercise for the elderly is strength training. And the reason why strength training is important for the elderly is because, number one, it will help them build better density of bones. That's the first one. So as we get older, our bones become more porous, more hollow, and strength training will allow your joints to feel what is called as compressive forces, and therefore help you retain more minerals in your bones. So it will actually give you stronger bones. The second thing that strength training does is that it allows for better nerve control per unit of muscle fiber. So to give you a small example, each one of us can write with our right hand, but we have difficulty in writing with our left hand because we don't have the kind of nervous control on our left hand as we have on our right hand. Not just that, with aging, sometimes the bank will begin to dishonor our checks because our sign is no longer the same. We actually begin to lose this nerve control and the nerve firing. Again, something which is reversible with appropriate amount of strength training. So you must strength train to retain that nerve control on your entire body, especially in your lower body or your legs. The third thing that strength training will do is that it will actually help you rebuild muscle. So it will make your muscles more dense, more stronger, more toned than what they currently are. As we age, our muscles begin to lose strength, they begin to lose their tone. And when muscles begin to lose strength and tone, they, they begin to have lesser uptake of oxygen and nutrients. That is also when you will begin to see lack of blood sugar regulation, or what is commonly called as insulin resistance or onset of diabetes. You can again reverse that by building better musculature, because muscles help make your insulin more sensitive. So there was a study which was done in Europe where they divided diabetic patients in two categories or two groups. One group was given only diabetic medication. The other group was given only strength training. And what they began to see is that people who were strength training regularly, uh, they regulated their blood sugars as well as the ones on the drugs in the first 6 months. But after 6 months, they began to regulate their blood sugars much better than the group which was only on medicine and not on exercise. This is just to tell you that exercising is extremely important, strength training, even for control diabetes, because then it will ensure that you don't fall short on B12 or vitamin D or have digestion issues. So strength training for better musculature, which will also help you with diabetes. And lastly, I mean, I could go on with the benefits of exercise and strength training. But lastly, it is also something which helps your cardiorespiratory system. A lot of times we feel that strength training is only for muscles and bodybuilding, and it's not going to do anything to my heart and lungs, but it does do a great deal of wonders for your heart and lungs. Vascularity or better capillary network is also something that you begin to see because of regular strength training. A lot of elderly have this issue that when they go for their blood test, the technician is not able to find the vein from which they can take the blood. But if you're strength training regularly, then you have better vascularity and the same blood test becomes less painful. So for me, then begin to strength train. How the recommendation of the American College of Sports Medicine is at least 2 days a week. Till now, the elderly and the advice that they were getting was almost like against strength training. Don't strength train if you're old. But now we know, as exercise science develops, that it is important that the elderly strength train, especially the ones who are above 70, because a lot of functioning will depend on the strength and stability. And that is something that strength training influences. So at least 2 days a week. So out of the 150 days, out of the 150 minutes per week that is recommended for the elderly for exercise, 2 days is for strength training. So make sure that you're investing 2 days in strength training. Strength training involves exercises like squats, a push-up, rowing. These are easy to do. You can join a gym. You can do them at home, depending on what you would like to, depending on your preference. But it's important that you invest at least 2 days. And lastly, before I throw it open for question answers, I just want to quickly tell you about intensity. When we begin exercise, we are often confused over what should be my start point at which I exercise. So for that, I would like to introduce to you a scale which is called as the Borg scale, where you count how tired you are feeling on a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 is when you're at rest, lying down, and you're not feeling tired at all. 1, 2 are at levels where maybe you're sitting up and reading a newspaper. 3 and 4 is when you're walking around and helping yourself to a cup of tea or coffee. 5 could be a level at which you had to walk fast to open the door because someone rang the bell and was getting very impatient. So from 0 to 5 is categorized as activity. So, activities which don't really tire you out so much. So you have to start rating how tired you are feeling. When you're exercising, you have to exercise at the rate of 6 or 7. 6 is where you are a little out of your comfort zone as far as the intensity goes. 6 is where you are comfortably uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable, but you are at ease with that discomfort. 7 is when you are finding it difficult to keep up with that activity because it's uncomfortable. 8 is when you feel that you're doing something really foolish in terms of intensity. And 9 and 10 is where you feel that if you continue with this form of exercise, you'll probably die on the spot. So what we must do is spend a lot of our time in activity in the range of 3 to 5. And the 150 minutes of exercise that I just spoke to you about should be spent in the range of 5 to 6 when you begin with, and 6 to 7 after the first 12 weeks of exercise, because it takes about 12 weeks for the human body to adapt to the stimuli of exercise. So I hope that this is clear, that when you start with exercise, stay in the range of between 5 to 6. So comfortably uncomfortable. So don't be in a rush to do a lot of exercise today, because today you are empowered with the benefits of all of the exercise. Have the patience to build exercise in a manner where you are able to exercise till the very last day of your life. And think of exercise, in blocks of 12 weeks at a time. So think of it as 3 months at a time. Don't be in a rush to do a lot, because exercise is, like I said, exercise is medicine. And you do know that even with a medicine as simple as paracetamol, if you take too much of it, there is going to, you are actually putting your life at threat. If you take too little, it is going to do nothing to relieve your aches or pains. But if you take just the right dose, then it will help you with relief. It will work like the medicine that it is meant to be. Exercise is also the exact same thing. Too much and it is useless. Too little and it is useless again. But just right and it is perfect. So I think that's all from me. And now if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Rujutha, for explaining beautifully.
Thank you.
Yeah, the main thing, Rujutha, most of the participants, we have about 45 questions, which I've bridged to about 10 questions, and more are coming.
Okay.
So the main thing is people don't know what is strength training. And because they are the elderly, they say that they cannot do a squat or do this. So what do you suggest? Where should they begin is the question.
I think, where they can begin from is the videos that we released during lockdown for senior citizen exercises. Those are very good exercises to begin with, and maybe at the end of this talk, I can share the video with you.
Yeah, right. So the other question they are asking is, for 65 plus, if they are diabetic, hypertension, joints, migraine, thyroid, arthritis, so is there any specific strength training exercises which they can do? I'm sure you answered that, saying that it does help in the vascularity and all of that, but make it very simple, and let us say that once again. Can you put it in?
Basically what exercise does is that it allows your body to have better blood circulation to your entire body, all the way to your toes and all the way up to your brain. So it makes your brain and your body better nourished and better oxygenated than what it currently is. And it makes your muscles stronger. So it makes your cells also, various cells and tissues of your body, stronger. So it allows them to use this oxygen and nutrients better. The third thing that it does is that it actually allows your heart, lungs, kidney, liver, spleen, pancreas, all the organs of your body to function at their optimum. So if you've seen, if you see a picture of someone who is exercising regularly, mostly you just see a very, very strong bicep. But regret is for them to have very strong lungs, very strong heart, very strong kidney, liver, spleen, pancreas, etc. Because it makes all of your organs stronger. Also, they begin to function better. And the fourth important thing that exercise does is that it makes recall and memory easier. So, sometimes you speak to elderly and you can't really understand what they are saying, or they have frequent memory loss, or sometimes they're thinking about a name or a song. It doesn't come to them in that moment. It comes to them 5 days later. Exercise will ensure that you're not going through any of these things. And whether you have diabetes, hypertension, joint ache, thyroid, varicose veins, blood pressure, whatever condition that you have, exercise is for each one of us. And exercise is that much more for people with chronic conditions, which is why I explained the 0 to 10 scale of intensity, that you exercise at your intensity. Be comfortably uncomfortable with your exercise. So some of us may be comfortably uncomfortable just getting up the chair. Some of us may be comfortably uncomfortable while climbing up the stairs. Some of us may be comfortably uncomfortable just turning in our bed. But whatever level that we are at today, we must start this investment of 150 minutes per week into our exercise and learn to stay comfortably uncomfortable for 30 minutes every day, because that's the only way that the 5 level today becomes a level of 3 for tomorrow, or what is at 7 today, what is uncomfortable today, will become 5 or very, very comfortable 3 or 4 months down the line. So that's how you have to think of exercise. It's not about doing as much as someone on a video is doing. It is doing as much as you can do to stay comfortably uncomfortable for the day. It also improves the quality of sleep, and a lot of elderly suffer from poor sleep, so exercise is also critical to allow you to sleep well.
Yeah. So basically, the message is we try to raise our own bar. We don't try to compare ourselves with anybody else, right?
And yeah, or even with our younger selves,
yes,
with what we could do when we were 20 or 30. It's about what we can do right now.
Yeah.
And whether we did it or not.
So there's a question about how to, as you mentioned, sleep. People want to know how the elderly can better their sleep, meaning they can sleep only for 1 or 2 hours in a day. Night they are fully awake. So is there any special diet? I'm sure you'll say, like you always say, the turmeric latte or the golden milk. But other than that, I mean, it's for what else can we do that?
See, adding zephyr or nutmeg to haldi milk in the night does give better quality sleep, But the thing about sleep is that most of us think about sleeping only once it's night time. We have to, we actually earn our sleep by being more active through the day. So make sure that you're moving around in your house or in your community as much as possible. Stay as active as possible through the day. Keep up with a hobby. Connect with people who are invested in you. Pursue, pursue something new that you can learn. And if you're doing these activities through the day, along with a 20 to 30-minute nap right after lunch every afternoon, then it improves the quality of sleep in the night. So don't think about the quality of sleep in the night only after 10 p.m. Think of it even at 10 a.m. So if you're feeling lazy and sleepy at 10 a.m., don't allow yourself to sleep at that time. If you're feeling like taking a nap at 4 p.m. or not going for a walk today, don't allow yourself to do those things. Make sure that you're being a little disciplined in your approach as what is it that you're doing through the day, so that you allow yourself restful sleep in the night. And then just at bedtime, before you go to bed, massage your feet with a little ghee. That is something which works really well as far as sleep quality is concerned.
Yeah, that was one of your guidelines for this week, for the last week, to apply ghee under the food.
Yes.
So there are people asking, like, is milk at all good? Because there is so much myth about A2 milk, this milk, that milk. So when you say golden milk, what milk to use is the question.
I'm talking about the milk which will go bad if you don't boil it. You know, so that's the kind of milk that we should all be getting. So source milk from a local dairy or from a local cooperative, and milk with which you can set curd, milk with which you can make white butter, milk if you, if you don't refrigerate, it will go bad, or if you don't boil, it will go bad. Buy good milk. Milk which goes bad is the milk which is good for you. It's the Tetra Pak milks which have validity for, I think, almost 6 months. That's the kind of milk that one must be avoiding. The packaged curd that one can just buy off the shelf, that's the stuff that you should be avoiding. But what you can make at home, there's no problem at all. Please use it.
But how can we make a curd without that pack dahi? Little bit the curd we want for make a curd at home.
See, with packaged dahi, which is, the one which comes in these plastic ones, the branded ones, you cannot really make dahi with that. But from a local dairy, if you get dahi, you will be able to set dahi with that. Or another option is to get a little bit of dahi from one of your neighbors or relative, and then again, you can set dahi with that,
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry, Rujutha, sorry, I was on mute. The last question is, people want to know, is protein supplementation required for the elderly? And if it is required, then what is the source of protein that we should be using?
Well, here's the thing that what the elderly really require is better protein assimilation and, what is called as MPR, or better muscle protein, better muscle protein synthesis really. And for improved muscle protein synthesis, here what we need activity, a lot of like stay as active as you can. That's one. Secondly, commit to 150 minutes of exercise per week, no matter what. And make sure that at least 2 days are dedicated to strength training, but you can also do your yoga, your walking, cycling, swimming, whatever that you would like to do. But 2 days compulsorily strength training. The third thing that we need is good quality sleep. And the fourth thing that we need is wholesome meals at frequent intervals. When we don't eat anything for long hours, then our body cannot really assimilate protein at the rate at which we want it to assimilate. So eating your lunch on time, eating your dinner on time, making sure that you're having a wholesome breakfast, having a handful of nuts for snack, eating a fresh fruit or a sharbat or dahi or chas. Make sure that you're doing those basic commonsensical things so that you're optimizing your body's ability to assimilate the protein from the food that you're eating. And then in certain conditions, if you do need a protein supplement, use a protein supplement of your choice, So there is no necessity really to compulsorily use a protein supplement. So even if you doing simple things like eating your dal with chawal, eating legumes and pulses regularly, eating your paratha with dahi, adding regular doses, or like having a cup of milk every single day, all of those things help you with your protein assimilation. But if you do want to have protein from outside, then have an easy to digest protein, because one must remember that with with advancing age, sometimes digestion also doesn't function as optimally as it should. So whey protein is one of the easier proteins to digest. So if you must have a protein supplement, then you can try whey protein and try and have it with a meal so that it's easier for the body to digest. So you can add maybe half a scoop to lunch, or you can add it to dinner so that the digestion becomes easier.
So one of the elderly has a question that with age now, they have a lot of food cravings. So is it a good sign or bad sign? One last sign.
It's never
I want
a
your
bad
endorsement
sign,
for that.
Yeah, well, it's never a bad sign. Feeling like eating something only means that the zest for life is very much alive and kicking. And if you deprive yourself of good food, you're essentially depriving yourself of the good life. So, eat the food that you're craving. Also, make sure that you tell everyone else around you how it's made, and also get them to eat it and share it so that not just you, even they can have the slice of good life. And every time that you're eating, I think chew your food slowly, because that's something that you would need to do. Chew your food slowly so that you are digesting your food well and assimilating nutrients even better.
Very well said, Rujutha. I love the way everything you bring it down to policies and social causes, and you just push the government to make it as a policy. So
well, I hope I hope that happens, because it is important, to look after all sections of our population, especially the ones with who are vulnerable, the children, elderly. Yeah.
I've seen you doing this with every platform, and I would like to say that this is not just going to remain a talk. I want to update you that after this, we are going to have sessions for the elderly, free sessions. We have a lot of volunteers, like in a week, one day strength training, one day Ashtanga yoga, which is your favorite, and then Tai Chi. So these three we will have for them, so that they can choose what they want. So we are not going to stop here. This was like an introductory session to tell them the importance of strength training, and they understand that it is required. So we will be taking this forward and doing that.
Wonderful. That's wonderful, Amita, because, it is important to make it easy. Otherwise, it all is just like a talk and one intellectual exercise,
all
and
arranged as
for
a
the
series.
muscles.
Yeah, before this talk, we had a webinar on mobility, the importance of mobility and that. So we're going in a structured manner so that people are being exposed in a way. So thank you very much for your time. It was indeed
thank you.
Very good. And sorry for all
thank
the
you.
This is the first time we are doing this thing. So
no problem. All happens. I guess a learning experience for all of us. Thank you very much, and wish you all the good health and happiness, and
again sometime again.
Yes, energy and vigor for doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.